Hey YouTube, Sandy Frank here. Today, this is going to be episode 2 of Hobby Talk. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And I'm going to be showing some of my Star Wars Phantom Menace Episode 1 action figures and autographs and some sketch cards from that film. And also doing a little bit of a review of that movie. I just watched it again on Disney Plus just recently, so I wanted to start with episode 1 to do this new series that I'm working on. So here we go. Let's start talking about it. That film, it came out on May 19th, 1999, so it's been over 21 years now. So this summer will be the 22nd anniversary that Episode 1 came out. And I can remember back as a young person, when this movie came out, they showed midnight showings on the opening release day, and I was there for the midnight showing, and there was so much hype building up for Episode 1. It was crazy. Let me fix that mic. And I just remember these action figures. I can't remember what day it was, but it was maybe a couple months before the movie came out. They opened up all the stores at midnight to on the release day of the action figures, and let people go in and buy the action figures. I bought every single one that was out, including all the different variations. And there was so many people there. You wouldn't believe how much hype there was for Episode 1 back then. Like, here's some of the figures. This was a OOM9 Battle Droid. Let's see, we've got Boss Nass. You can see right there, it's got the Walmart sticker on it still. And these are Comtech figures. And I'll show you something really cool here in this video. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but we've got Darth Maul, the Sith Lord version. Oh, I do want to show back there. I have, before I start showing all these action figures, move this light up so you can see these. These are my Star Wars authentic photos. Those are my Phantom Menace ones. I got Jar Binks, Ahmed Best, and a Ray Park Darth Maul signed photos. So those are really cool. I enjoy those in my collection. So I'm going to set these back here. And so the movie, as I tell my review, I'll start showing different stuff, some of these action figures and stuff. So the movie, this is a spoiler review, by the way. So if you haven't watched Episode 1 and you don't want to be spoiled, then you might want to watch it first. The movie starts off with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. They're trying to negotiate with the Trade Federation, because the Trade Federation has blocked trade routes to Naboo. Now, Naboo, that's where Queen Amidala is. I think I got Queen Amidala here. Yeah, here she is. Queen Amidala, all of her crazy outfits that she wore. Really cool costume design, though, for that movie. So the Trade Federation is blocking the trade routes, and the first characters you really get to know in the movie are Qui-Gon Jinn, who's a Jedi Master, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's his Padawan. Now, Obi-Wan, very old for Padawan, it seems like, but he's played by Ewan McGregor, and he does a phenomenal job playing Obi-Wan. And Qui-Gon is played by Liam Neeson, and he does a phenomenal job as well. I have no problems at all with those characters. And it's pretty interesting. I don't think there was ever the second Ewan McGregor is on screen playing Obi-Wan, I bought into him being Obi-Wan. He does a great job playing Obi-Wan. And I never felt that way with Alden Ulrich playing Han Solo and Solo. It just never felt like Han Solo. But Ewan McGregor just nails Obi-Wan. It just feels very authentic. Anyway, the negotiations go bad. You meet some of the Nemodians who are doing this trade first. Actually, this is probably one of the first characters you see. TC-14 looks like C-3PO kind of, but he's silver, serving drinks. And so negotiations go bad. You get introduced to battle droids, which I think are a cool design. Here's a battle droid right here. We had never seen those in Star Wars before. And also the destroyer droids. Those were pretty cool. We got to see lightsabers being used that we hadn't seen for... You have to remember, there hadn't been Star Wars, a new Star Wars material since 1983. So that's 16 years since the last Star Wars film or show or anything. There was no Disney Plus that had shows. So just the anticipation of this movie was unbelievable. And that would be like, okay, if let's say The Mandalorian was the last thing that the last Star Wars that would come out for 16 years, that means there wouldn't be no Star Wars, no shows, no movies until 2037. Can you imagine going that long without any kind of new Star Wars? Just unbelievable. So the negotiations go bad. You're introduced to Lord Sidious, Darth Sidious, who's this mysterious character. And, of course, we recognize him as the Emperor. There's Darth Sidious. And he is organizing this trade blockade. It goes bad. The Jedis escape the ship and go down to this planet called Naboo. Now, Naboo, it's a very well-designed planet, I think. The new planets that we learn about in Episode 1 are very well thought out. You have Coruscant, which the entire planet is like one big city, as this guy tells us, as we're flying in the Queen's ship. This is one of my Episode 1 autographs. Ricolay. Ralph Brown plays Ricolay. And then there's Naboo, which is a very beautiful, watery... It's like the middle of the planet's made out of water. There's huge sea creatures that live in the water. And also these bizarre aliens called Gungans. And that's where we meet Jar Jar Binks. Here's a Jar Jar Binks. We meet Jar Jar Binks, who back then, I have to admit, I did not care for the Jar Jar Binks character. I've grown to appreciate him over time, but at that time, it was like, what is going on with Star Wars when you start to realize this is going to be one of the main characters of this show, is Jar Jar Binks. So, Jar Jar is banished from his kingdom. This is the leader of his people, Boss Nass. And Qui-Gon uses the Force, gets his way, gets a transport, and they end up keeping Jar Jar, unfortunately. And they get through the planet core, and eventually they escape there and end up at Tatooine. I'm sorry, I'm leaving out stuff, but anyway, they end up at Tatooine, and there they meet this little boy, which is the whole basis of the prequels. This little boy named Anakin Skywalker. Now, Anakin, he really likes Padme. Padme is actually Queen Amidala in her this is kind of like her disguise, is that she has someone dresses up all elegantly as the queen, while she can just look like a regular person. So if there's any type of assassination attempt, it might help her escape. So they end up at Tatooine, and this is one big problem that I have with Episode 1, is that the choice of Jake Lloyd playing Anakin, he's too young to be Anakin. Because there's supposed to be some sort of chemistry brewing between Padme and Anakin. And Anakin, he is, I'm not sure what his official age is in the movie, but he seems like he's about 7 or 8 years old, just a little kid. And through Anakin, they're able to he wins a pod race. The pod race is pretty cool. It's like an epic scene in the movie. They get money to get their parts they need for the ship, because the ship breaks down. They're stranded at Tatooine, and these two begin a friendship that Anakin makes this little necklace for her and says that he has feelings for her, not romantic feelings necessarily, but you can tell he has a little crush on her. But she seems like she's about 15 or 16 years old, which is another interesting thing. Naboo, their political system elects these young teenage girls, or they look like teenage girls, to be the queen of the planet, which is definitely different. You definitely don't hear that in other cultures like on Earth. So here's another Gungan, Captain Tarples. He's in charge of the Gungan army. Let's see what else we have here. We have this character, C.O. Bibble. Now, C.O. Bibble, he's still at Naboo, trying to contact the Queen, and they're trying to not contact them because they feel like they could be traced. And so they eventually get off Tatooine, go back to Naboo, where they have a big plan of removing the invading Trade Federation armies. And meanwhile, the main plot of the movie, I think one of the main plots is Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, is using all this to gain more power from the Senate, and eventually is able to unseat Chancellor Valorum of the Galactic Senate. This is happening on Coruscant. And he uses this war to gain more power and eventually gets himself elected as Chancellor. All the while, they don't really come out and say it, but this is the real identity of Palpatine. He is Darth Sidious, but they don't really come out and directly say that. It's Darth Sidious, the Lord of the Sith, working behind the scenes to gain control of the government. And that's basically it. The Gungans band together with the Naboo in an alliance, and they overthrow the Trade Federation and blow up their ship. Anakin blows up the ship. Actually, he gets up there in a one of the Naboo ships and infiltrates the control ship and destroys it. And clearly, he is strong with the Force. Qui-Gon believes he is actually the chosen one, which is some Jedi prophecy. He goes before the Jedi Council, and there we see Yoda. Yoda is on the Jedi Council, and this is one thing they did change this from the original release. So this is how Yoda looked in the original movie. Episode 1 looked really strange, and since if you go on Disney Plus now and watch Episode 1, this character is now digital CGI Yoda, and it works way much better. That was a huge improvement. Yoda and the Jedi Council decide that Anakin is too old, has too much anger in his past to be trained, but Qui-Gon says, I'm going to train him anyway. And so Anakin is going to be trained. Now, meanwhile, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan end up back at Naboo for this big battle. And at the end of the movie, the climax of the film is Darth Maul confronts Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in this awesome lightsaber battle. It's one of the greatest lightsaber battles of all Star Wars. You have this incredible music, Duel of the Fates, great theme playing while Darth Maul battles Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And eventually, Darth Maul gets himself separated with just him and Qui-Gon. And actually, this was a shocking moment to me in the movie. He kills Qui-Gon in the lightsaber battle, right in front of Obi-Wan, who because of some sort of force shield machine or something, is not able to help him until the force field clears. So Obi-Wan sees this, and technically, is he using some dark side powers to attack in this situation? I don't know, but he's very angry when he's attacking Darth Maul, and eventually defeats Darth Maul and cuts him in half. He falls down this big cavernous pit, and you see that he's definitely cut in half. And by the end of this movie, you have to assume Darth Maul is dead, which we find out later he did not actually die. So Obi-Wan avenges Qui-Gon's death. They have the funeral at the end of the movie. They burn Qui-Gon's body, and then the Jedis are talking amongst the Jedi Masters. They're talking amongst themselves, saying, "Well, who was killed? Was it because this is the rule of the Sith? There can only be two, a master and an apprentice." And that's what Mace Windu asked Yoda: "Who was destroyed, the master or the apprentice?" And of course, we know that the real master was Darth Sidious, but they don't really come out and say that in the movie. And so these are the action figures. This is something really cool. This is actually a Comtech. You bought this thing. These are all Comtech figures. You know, I just noticed something. This Yoda does not have Episode 1 up there, where all the other figures do. I've never noticed that before. Maybe it's an error. But this Comtech reader, these little chips, you put the Comtech reader next to the chip, and it will say lines from the movie. So let's try this out. Okay. Let's see if you can hear this on the thing. So here's Newt Gunray. Of course, you know Newt Gunray. He's in charge of the Trade Federation and has an interesting accent. Let's see how the figures, what they say.
I want to destroy your droids out there at once. What in blazes is going on down there? Well, not exactly, but still off the bridge.
So those are some lines from the movie. Definitely not the real voice of Newt Gunray, I don't think. So let's see what Darth Maul says.
If the trace was correct, I will find them quickly, Master. At last, we will have revenge.
Yeah, sounds a little bit like Darth Maul, but not so much. Not very close. Let's see what Yoda sounds like.
Hard to see the dark side is. How feel you? Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
A little cheesy, but it sounds kind of like Yoda. Alright, let's see. Let's get Darth Sidious. Let's see what he sounds like.
You have done well, Viceroy. You have been well trained, my young apprentice. Wipe them out. All of them.
Yeah, that does not sound like the Emperor, but those are some lines that you had in the movie. Let's try Queen Amidala. What do you say?
The Naboo system has been invaded by the droid armies of the Trade.